Well, hi, everybody. It's Michael Angelo Caruso. I want to talk about how to use testimonials to promote your brand or your business. You know, it's a busy, noisy world out there, and a lot of people are telling you how great they are, and you may even get tired of hearing all of these self-promotional types of messages. I just want to remind you that when you tell people how great you are, it's advertising, but when a third party tells people how great you are, it's the truth. So we want to use testimonials more often than just telling people about your benefits and features, because when a third party does it, it's somehow more convincing, it's somehow more persuasive for them to get involved with you. So I'm going to give you 5 quick tips. Let's do it right now. 5 tips on how to use testimonials. Here we go. Number 1, the easy one, is your website. So it used to be that we would get testimonials from people. We'd say, could you write me a letter of recommendation? Some older people may remember that phrase, letter of recommendation. But we got that letter of recommendation. Then you had to put it in a plastic laminate and then put it in a binder, a 3-ring binder. And then you took it on sales calls to show people, right? And you'd show people one at a time. A variation on this was you'd put it in a frame at your headquarters, and then people could walk down the hallway. Nobody ever read the darn things. There's just too many of them in a row, right? But they were impressive. They were like gold records hanging on the wall. But the way we use testimonials now is by making them public on platforms. LinkedIn has made great hay of their recommendations feature, because you can request a recommendation on LinkedIn, and then it shows up in a list, right? And then anybody that's on your LinkedIn page that goes to the recommendation section can see how great you are, because all of these testimonials are listed for them. But you want to find a way to get that testimonial to your website. Now, I think if someone gives you a written testimonial on LinkedIn, you can easily keystroke it and then copy paste it into a WordPress template, right, on your website, and they wouldn't mind you doing that. It's good to give the person's name, title, city, and photograph if you can. The photo makes it more human, right? If it's a woman, women that are reading it might relate to a woman. If it's a person of ethnicity, my last name happens to be Italian. So if I see an Italian name, it's silly, of course, to think like this, but you think you see an Italian name, you think, oh, another paisan liked it, right? So it's important to give more indicators about who these people are rather than first names or anonymous quotations, not as strong at all. Second technique is to do what I call a LinkedIn cluster screenshot. So you go to those great recommendations on LinkedIn. By the way, the only people that ever see those recommendations are people on LinkedIn, right? People who look at your recommendations on LinkedIn. So you take a screenshot of that cluster, right? And you create a JPEG, and you post that JPEG then to your Facebook following, or to your Twitter following, or Instagram. You can put it anywhere because in a JPEG format. And the good news is that Facebook, for example, Twitter does not throttle JPEGs, right? To let people see them. And so more people are seeing how great you are. Even though it was originally posted on LinkedIn, they're seeing it in other platforms, which is pretty cool. Technique number 3 for sharing testimonials is to create a Facebook cover photo with the testimonial. Now, you've probably seen this done. I'll show you the Facebook dimension. The cover photo dimension is a longer rectangle. It's like this, right, at the top of your Facebook feed. And you've seen people do motivational quotes like Albert Einstein, right, the definition of insanity, right, doing the same thing and expecting different results. Albert Einstein, I've seen it a million times. Why not a testimonial from somebody that really thinks highly of you as a Facebook cover photo? That's pretty cool. It's easy to do. You should always get permission to share the testimonial before you do so. But if people really love you, they'll never say no. Technique number 4 is to post the testimonial to your platform and then tag it with people, specific people that you want to see the post. Now, be careful of this one. It's edgy, right? If I'm trying to land a client, for example, I might tag that client so I make sure he sees that this other person thinks I'm great. If that other person is in his industry or somebody that he looks up to, this will be a particularly convincing piece of promotion. Of course, you don't have to do this in such a public way. You can simply send it in an email, right? So the other person sees it. In any case, the result would be the same, hopefully, that the other person would speed up the booking process, the hiring process, the purchase process, and you'll do more business as a result of sharing those testimonials. And finally, the fifth of our 5 techniques for testimonials is to make sure that when you do the testimonial, you do a photograph image. It's what's called a 2-shot, right? The other person's face plus your face, right, in this 2-shot that shows up with the testimonial. And what this does is it puts you in the same frame as the other person. So if the other person is revered in the industry or famous, right, and now you're in that same frame, I keep doing this with my hands, you're in that same frame, they think of you with that same affection, right? And we see this all the time when people have their photo taken with celebrities. It gets a lot of love because what happens is, psychologists call it transfer. There's a transference of the love for the celebrity to the love of you, if it happened to be you in the photograph. So the 5 techniques: make sure you put the testimonials on your website. Make sure you do the LinkedIn cluster screenshot of your recommendations and share it on other platforms. The 3rd technique was to do it in the Facebook cover photo at the top of your Facebook page. The 4th technique is to use tags in the post to alert certain companies or certain people about the post and the testimonial. And the 5th tip is to include an image of you with the other person. So take a lot of photographs. Take photographs with people before you ask them for the testimonial so that you can marry up those 2 pieces of information when you finally post, the photograph and the testimonial. And I hope this has been helpful. Remember, you want to get other people to say how great you are, so that it's because it's more persuasive, and it's very, very hypnotic when person after person says that you are the only guy in town that they should hire for this or book for this, right? And you can make it happen for yourself, for your brand, for your company. More tips, marketing tips, at michaelangelocaruso.com. You can also check out my playlists on YouTube and get these tips in video format if you care to. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you soon.